We are live. Tom Levecka here, marketing director for Alpha Male Plastic Surgery. Dr. Steinbrech is in between consults and surgeries and his life, but agreed to do a first time ever live on the Alpha Male Plastic Surgery channel. We envision making this a series. Dr. Steinbrech, welcome to the Alpha Male Plastic Surgery YouTube channel. How are you doing today?
I'm super excited to be here, Tom, man. I'm always excited to be with you and sharing what we're doing with our fans. And it's a pleasure to be here today.
Well, we got a lot of stuff to go over, but people are gonna discover who you are too. We envision this kind of getting out there. Tell us a little bit about you and your background before we launch into our cases and what we're gonna review.
Yeah, no, I mean, I went to medical school because I wanted to help people. But I also, when I was at NYU, I found that I was most interested in surgery, and particularly I was most interested in plastic surgery because I was doing cardiac surgery, and one of the guys at the morning conference, we get up every day after we're finished morning conference. All right, you're going to take this patient, you're going to take that patient, you're going to put in a valve or do a bypass. And one guy would used to say, time to make the donuts. And that just meant he was doing the same thing every day. And I didn't like that. So when I luckily was at NYU, they had an amazing program, and they still do, top in the country with their facial transplants. Top in the country for plastic surgery, both reconstructive, but also aesthetic. So I was able to work with some of the greatest minds in the country. We even wrote a textbook with Dr. Aston, who's one of the most legendary doctors. And then they liked that one so much, they came back and they had me write another textbook, or actually,
I'm a little ahead of myself, but I had to post it.
Edit another textbook only for men, because they wanted us to share what we know. And this textbook I love because it just came out last year, instantly was a bestseller. And you can see there's a little bit of gold writing on the cover of that. Those are all of the authors that are inside the textbook. So we had 68 authors writing 48 chapters in a 300-page book full of packed information for young medical students, surgeons, and even experienced surgeons that want to learn more about men's aesthetic plastic surgery. So that's where we got. Then we started really focusing on men, probably, Tom, what would you say, 2014, 2013, 2014?
13 you launched, and then you got like really serious going into 14, and then it just hockey sticked from there. I mean, it's been in safety centers, and it's been a wild ride.
Sure, and then we went off to New York. People went so well that we opened up in Beverly Hills, and then we've been there for 6 years now. And now we're in Chicago for just over a year. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome. So what we're going to do now is we're going to review some particular cases. I'm going to throw it on the screen. I'll keep it up there. So if you can kind of walk us through the before and after. So first case we're looking at is a body banking quarterback butt lift. So walk us through this one, Doc.
So what this is this gentleman is in his late 30s. And he was just starting to get a little bit of a dad bod. So he was getting that visceral fat that's hanging out in front of his tummy. And he lost that definition that he had when he was a teenager. And he was also starting to get the man boobs, less definition. They call it gynecomastia, and less definition in his chest, losing upper pull volume and getting a case of the droops. He was also getting excess fat in his love handles, his flanks. And he wanted to clean all that up. So what we did is we took out all that fat from the upper and lower abs, from his flanks, from the lower chest, from that blob that's underneath the armpit. We call that the axillary area. And then we took all the cells, isolated them. We don't just throw them away. We do body banking. We isolate those cells for structure and volume. And then we take them from undesired areas, and we, like a sculptor moving the clay around on his sculpture, we then reintroduce them to desired areas. So everything in my office is about subtraction and addition. This time we want to add into the anterolateral posterior deltoids, into his shoulders, into his upper chest, and then do abdominal highlights and that serratus stripe, the upper external oblique. Just give it a little bit of projection to create that kind of definition and that kind of wow factor that we can do, that we can truly sculpt with the clay, which are the cells that I take from the bad areas. And the other reason why we do it, the power of this is if you do old-fashioned liposuction and you just take out that fat and throw it in a bucket, guess what? A year later, you're watching Netflix. You have a bowl of ice cream while you're watching that Netflix. The carbs, the calories from that ice cream don't just pass through you because somebody said, yeah, liposuction. No, they're going to find some bad place to go. They're going to go as visceral fat or inner outer thighs and another undesired area. We want them to go where we banked it. We want those cells from that Netflix ice cream to make your shoulders wider, lift up your chest, and make your traps pop. And that's why BodyBanking has been such a huge success.
Nice. And a fantastic result. So the next case is gladiator abs. So walk us through that, Doc.
Yeah, so for the abs, what I was trying to do is I was starting to get these guys and we were getting some definition on them, but they were bummed out because they weren't getting the kind of projection because getting into the 30s and 40s, you know, these guys don't have as much time to be in the gym. They don't want to take a bunch of steroids and they don't, they're spending more time with their families. So they're not as good about all the gym time, and they're not able to spend 20 hours at a gym a week. So they wanted more definition, but they weren't getting the kind of projection that they had when they were younger. So I was taking a shower. I had this thing called shower technology, which means you solve these things while you're sleeping in the middle of the night, but you jump out of bed and your alarm goes off and you're such a hurry to get work, you forget about what you dreamt about and what the problems that your mind was solving. Well, my mind was solving how to create more projection. So in the shower, that's where all these things resurface to your brain. And for me, it was, you know what, I'm going to take some very small amount of cells, give more projection just underneath the skin to create a visible highlight that's going to give us that projection. And the combination of your abs of subtracting, doing that abdominal etching and really carving out. Thanks, Romano. Thanks so much. And really carving those, but not just that, adding just a little bit to add pow, to add projection to each little area, and also a little bit on the serrated stripe. That's what gives us the power. That's what gives us the definition and the projection that allows us to get what we need. So those are our gladiator abs.
Very nice. Okay, BodyBanking gladiator abs, a little different. This guy had a little bit of bulk. More of a bulker, if you will, right? That's a word. Walk us through this case, Doc.
Exactly, and this is one we looked through the numbers. I always feel complimented when industry people come and see us because they can pick any doctor that they want, and then industry all across the country. We actually went back and looked at how many doctors that we've done over the years, and we have a list that's over 300 people. So if you have 300 doctors, people that really know about medicine and they really know, can see sort of behind the curtain and know quality work and also reliability of work and good patient care. Those are the fact that we have over 300 physicians choose us makes us to be very proud of our team, of our techniques, and of our product, and because of our services. Now, this is on the other side. This is one of our vendors. So this is a gentleman that can go around to all the plastic surgeons, and he's seen everyone work, and that even makes him even more excited when someone who's seen everybody's work come and chooses you when they know that they could go with anybody else. So what he did is he used to be an NPC bodybuilding top 3 national champion, but then he started working on, getting busy with work and the family, and he was starting to fall out of shape. So he wanted to get rid of some of the fat. He had it injected with an injectable dissolver, but it turned out to cause all these irregularities, discolorations, and he came to me for me to try and repair it. So you can even see on the left side that he had that, and he also had a lot of visceral fat. That's why you don't want to do liposuction without banking it. So he wanted to get back in shape. So what we did is we erased those irregularities, and actually we sort of camouflaged them intentionally into an organized abdominal sculpture. So we gave him a 6-pack, and any of those sort of which a lot of people can get if they get bad liposuction or botched liposuction or injections, that don't work correctly. What we can do is we can camouflage them within a nice pattern. So it's sort of a Where's Waldo thing, where Waldo can be right there, but if he's hiding behind the tree, and that's what we do. We can definitely take people that can never take their shirt off on the beach or that are quote unquote botched, and then we can create a pattern and disguise and camouflage some of those irregularities into a nice six-pack and make something that someone's actually didn't want to take the shirt off at the beach. Now they're proud to take the shirt off at the beach or the pool. And this guy, we gave him abdominal highlights and gladiator abs, and he went back with his buddies in Vegas, all of his BodyBanking buddies, and they're like, "Damn, you look good." And other bodybuilders know how to spot things. They know how to spot steroid cheats. They know how to spot if somebody's injecting silicone into their biceps. People they can tell, and nobody could clock him. Nobody could pick it out. They all thought it was completely natural, and they were just jealous that he had a great set of abs. So this is BodyBanking with gladiator abs. Now, when you look at our site, you're going to see some are more intense, some are less intense. Listen, we don't just cut and paste onto everyone. Most people want to have more subtle. They want to have it be very natural, but it also has to fit with the rest of your body. It's got to blend naturally with your own natural aesthetic, and it's got to blend naturally with other parts of your body. So if you have a more extreme physique, we're going to make it more extreme. It also depends on your taste. As long as it's tasteful, as long as it works within the realm of what looks natural, then we're going to do it. We're definitely going to do it. Some people want to be a little bit more extreme. Some people want to be a little bit more subtle. We want to do what you're comfortable with, but in the end of the day, we want it to look natural, and we want it to be homogeneous, or want it to fit in with the other body parts.
Okay. How about this one? Liposuction. It's a little different because what you were focusing on earlier, you were talking about the abdomen, the serrated stripe, and so forth. But this is a beautiful case. So this is liposuction with BodyBanking to pecs and shoulders. But Doc, before we jump into this case, I want you to I want you to refresh us. You touched on it earlier, but I want you to deep dive on BodyBanking, because I don't think people that get it are rushing in, and people that are still kind of like, hey, what is it? I want to get them over that edge.
Yeah, the best way to do it, and we'll have to add the link, but I have a whiteboard video that's about 5 minutes long, 3 or 4 minutes long, and it explains everything, and it compares two brothers. If you haven't seen this on our channel, we've had it up for probably 6 months. But it really goes through a story of two brothers, and one brother, they both are like super attractive. They're good looking. They were both, twins, both, on the football team, and always admired by the girls and admired by the guys who wanted to look like them or be them. But once they got older and the hormones changed and they had to pay attention to their families and their work, they got a little bit out of shape. And the story goes on to talk about how they both promised to go to the gym, but they both hit a barrier, either genetically or problem with time at the gym, where they're just not getting the results they need. It could be because of skin. It could be because of hormones. It could be because of time at the gym. But for all those reasons, they need a little help. One of them goes to an old-fashioned plastic surgeon. The old-fashioned plastic surgeon that just slurps it out and throws it in the bucket. Well, like I was saying before, there are problems, because when that happens, if you just slurp it out, throw it in a bucket, guess what happens? And your Aunt Sally told you about that. She had liposuction in the 70s or in the 90s, and she noticed after that she started getting fatty arms, or her thighs got fatty because the doctor just sucked it out and didn't put it anywhere. Okay. And that is what we call rebound fat.
Yes.
And we call it rebound fat. In other word, it's the rebound fat that is coming from, remember that Netflix ice cream. All right. It's got to go somewhere. The carbs and the calories have to go somewhere, and they will find leftover fat cells, usually visceral or inner outer thighs. And Aunt Sally was not imagining it. It's a real phenomenon. And so that's what we don't want to do. That's why we want to bank it. So if you bank it on the outside of your body, then you don't have to worry about it. And all those people that have the boyfriend or the girlfriend that tries to control them and say, you can't eat that. That always goes to your hips. You can't eat that. Well, guess what? Now you can go tell your girlfriend. You can go tell your boyfriend, get off my back.
I love it. All right. I want to get back to this case, and I appreciate you giving that interstitial on body banking. Because again, for those that are catching this on the replay, or you decide to circle back, we'll put the link to that video in the description, Doc. So walk us through this case: liposuction with body banking to pecs and shoulders.
Yeah. So in this case, if we didn't put, and where we banked it is we put it up in the shoulders, we put it up upper chest, we put it into his traps. So we did that because if you don't do that, they're going to get that rebound fat. The other word that we use for rebound fat is catch fat, or compensatory adipotrophic cellular hypertrophy, CATCH. It's just a bunch of fancy medical mumbo jumbo that means other cells are going to compensatorily enlarge in your belly or in other areas unless we bank it somewhere. And for this gentleman, and thanks, Jonathan, thanks for watching in. In this gentleman, and this is another compliment, doctors who come see us, industry people come see us, and male models. And this guy is an amazing male model and has an incredible career, but he was just starting to age a little bit. He's getting in his 30s, and he was just starting to get soft in a couple areas. And so what he needed was to get kick-started. And it wasn't his problem. It's just hormones. Because keep in mind, Mother Nature's got two levers. And what she's going to do is as you age, she's going to go down on the testosterone. She's going to go up on the estrogen to make sure little areas, little fat supplies enlarge to get you through, I call it caveman fat, to get you through the winter so that you survive those long winters in your cave. Now, we don't live in caves anymore. We have plenty of heat. We don't need to have caveman fat, but it is still there, as we say in medicine, vestigially. Means it's still there despite the fact that we don't really need it evolutionarily. So people still have it. We want to get that caveman fat out, and we want to put it in good areas. And this is the magic of this. For this gentleman, he gets some immediate volume, which a beautiful result in his upper chest, his shoulders, and his traps. But this is the magic. In 15 years, in 20 years, in 25 years, as Mother Nature continues to put up the estrogen and put down, as he loses testosterone, he's going to lose upper pole muscle mass. But guess what? We tricked Mother Nature, and we planted these seeds. So in 30, 40, even 50 years, the loss in muscle is going to be replaced by the volume that we've created by planting these cells. So it will be replaced 1-to-1, and he's not going to get this grandpa volume where he's all washed out, loses everything in his shoulders. That's going to be replaced. That volume is going to be replaced with the cells that we body bank. So I always tell my patients, in 15, 20 years, you know what? You're going to actually sit down and write me a thank you note if I'm still alive, because you're going to know that, hey, that guy, he was right about that. I didn't really listen to it at the time, but now I realize, why am I 80 years old? Why am I 70 years old? And my body looks like still I'm in my 20s, 30s, and 40s versus Grandpa Joe over here, my brother, that went to the other plastic surgeon and never had any body banking whatsoever.
Beautiful. Just as a heads up, everyone, for those on the replay as well as watching live, the whiteboard video, the link is below, but also people watching on a replay, you can easily find it in the description. Beautiful. Okay. So we're going to go next. So next one is a video. It's an 11-second video. Dr. Steinbrech bringing sexy back. I'm going to play it, and I'm going to pause it as if, but let's check it out. Okay. So bringing sexy back. Sorry about the pause. I'd rather have you walk
bringing sexy back.
Yes.
You're a genius, Tom.
Love it. That's why I do marketing. So to walk us through this
Okay.
case a little
So
bit.
this is a guy that flew in from Asia, and super handsome dude. I mean, just rocking. But his body was just starting to get a little bit soft.
Yeah.
And some guys, like a lot of guys, come in from wherever, from Japan or from Russia or whatever, and they just have a smoking hot body, and they have no fat, and we just need to put in some implants because they have nothing to bank. This guy actually happened to have a little bit of jelly there, a little bit brain sexy back time, a little bit of extra jelly there. So, which is good because I want to have that clay. And when I see you or your brother or your dad or your son, I'm going to ask them to actually put on a couple extra pounds so that they're in positive nutritional balance and also that their cells are nice and perky. If we put on a few pounds before surgery, then I can have a more even extraction from those areas because they're nice big target versus tiny little whiffs of tissue. And the cells will be more hardy, sort of pre-nutritionalized, if you will, to have more of the cells survive in the new world. So that's why I usually ask people to do it. Also, being in positive nutritional balance, you're less likely to have problems with complications due to surgery because you have plenty of excess surgery on board. So what we did for this guy, this is exactly what we want to see. This, in fact, is just 8 days post-operatively. And I wanted to show that it was 8 days because a lot of times people look at before and afters and they're like, all right, that guy went home, he lost a bunch of weight, and then he started injecting his butt with steroids. And this 6 months later, after he went to the gym, got a bunch of steroids, got a tan and oiled up. If you look at this picture, it's 8 days later, and you can see that we injected in the shoulders into the traps. In that particular still, he's actually flexing. So when he relaxes, his traps go down very naturally. But you can see when he's flexing, it's just like a bodybuilder would flex. This guy loved his new back. It looked amazing, and that's what started our BodyBanking back lift, or our Brazilian back lift, if you will. And these guys love this because who doesn't want to have the back is the new butt? Like the back is new abs. You know, everyone used to want a big chest in the 80s. You know, this guy's got a big chest. In the 70s, hey, he's got big biceps. And then in the 90s, and now it's more about the abs, well, or the butt. Well, guess what? The next wave is a sexy back. Every woman wants to be with the dude with a nice back. The dudes want to be with the dude with a nice back. I don't care if you're straight, you're gay, whatever you are. We love all of you. But everybody wants to have a nice back or be with someone that has a nice masculine back, because a back tells that you're a real man. It's not like a little skinny back and then some like a natural looking chest or biceps. The back, the legs, that's what makes you a solid man. That's why doing the BodyBanking back lift has been our like new big growing part of our practice. And also the other thing you can see is the Cobra back, how that V look to the entire back, because we're sucking out the fat from the love handles. So you get that beautiful Cobra back, very lean down by the waist. And it's funny, for years and years, I've seen these plastic surgeons say, oh, with my men, I don't want to take out too much because I don't want them to look like a woman. You know, does this guy look like a woman? No. Why would you leave some guy with extra love handles? Because that's supposed to look more masculine? No. Look at these guys on Instagram. They want to have their waist to be as tiny as possible. Yep. And that's the people that say, oh, I want to leave more on a man to make him look like a man. Those are plastic surgeons that just don't have a lot of experience with men, or they just don't understand the aesthetic that men want. You look on the Instagram and you can see what people want.
Yep. So this is good, Doc. So we're actually a little ahead of schedule, so I'm happy about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to post this on our channel, Doctor's channel, Alpha Male Plastic Surgery. If you want to find more about Doc, it's maleplasticsurgery.com. And just again, leave your comments below. Click through the site if you want to book an appointment. Make sure you do soon, because the spots are closing up for the end of the year. Then, Doc, I'll give you the final words before we conclude.
Yeah, I think the most important thing, and I just came out of a room where one of the patients said, "Yep, that's how I saw you. I saw you." One guy said, I mean, Tom, I am not making this stuff up. One guy just called from Miami. He's going to get a 360 torso tuck. We're going to do a chest lift. We're going to do body banking into his chest, his traps, his shoulders. And he just told me, I'm talking to you, guy from Miami. He just told me, like, I'm your biggest fan. And and he said, I don't normally open up. I don't normally talk like that. But he learned so much from all these good videos that Tom's helped us put together, also with Abe, also with Carl, also with Mike, also with an amazing team that puts all these videos together. I've done just such a wonderful job. But he said, like, he's learned so much. And then after that, I went over and did a male model makeover in a patient, and I was just sharpening things up. And he said, he flew in also from another city. He said, yep, that's how I found you. I found you from looking at all your male model makeover videos. I think we're up to something like 18 at this point. But you can see it's like eating potato chips. You just keep on watching one after another, and you can learn so much about our philosophy. But the other thing that people say is the videos look natural. They don't look overdone and over too polished, because we always want to show are passionate about it. We're passionate about what we do, and we like to make these very informative, but also authentic. So it's such an honor to be here with you, Tom. I really appreciate sincerely all the time that you guys have been helping us with to get the word out there.
Nice. And Doc, you guys know, has a busy schedule. We're actually just within time, which is great. So maleplasticsurgery.com. Check it out. 3 offices. Dr. Steinbrech also, let's just see. We got some messages coming in here. So we actually have some, those guys in Chicago, make sure he's going to be in Chicago this weekend. We have one spot left. If you want to mop that spot, maleplasticsurgery.com. Go in, book your appointment. Now, the important thing is that, Dr. Steinbrech deals with people along their journey. So a journey is not as simple as like, hey, I'm ready to go. You might want to think about it. You might want to come in. You might want to consult. You might want to do a virtual consult. And you might want to sit down. And another thing is, sometimes you think you play doctor in a way. You're like, well, this bothers me. This is what I need, right? And Dr. Steinbrech will break down, his team will break down not only what your aesthetic goal is, but how to get there. And you'd be surprised on the different ways to get that result. I thought you just get liposuction, you take the big ball and you throw it away. No, Doc uses it, addition by subtraction. And check out maleplasticsurgery.com, and it's an honor to be here with you, Doc.
Thanks, Tommy.
And then real quick, one last comment. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Jonathan. We really appreciate you checking out. This has been Alpha Male Plastic Surgery, episode 1. We're going to hopefully do many of these when Dr. Steinbrech is available. Drop your comments below. See you next time.
See you next time.